Welcome, everyone, to tonight's call. I am Cassandra, Diva of Dialogue Lee, your facilitator for tonight's District 103 Toastmaster Senior Advisor webinar series. I want to welcome you to tonight's Part 1 session of Creating a Quality Club. This is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. I say it's near and dear to my heart because being a district leader, having been a club leader for over 20 years, this is an area that I know will help clubs to be strong. It's an area that helps members to stick around longer. And essentially, it's the area that Toastmasters International challenges all clubs in the organization to pay attention to. So for tonight's session, Part 1 will give us an opportunity to delve in a little bit deeper into some of the areas that help with making our club environment a quality club environment. Now, as I move through in the webinar version, you will be able to follow along with me with the slides. For those of you who may only be with me by conference call, don't worry, you will have an opportunity to actually hear or see, I should say, you will have a chance to see the slides in the recording. Yet for now, we are going to be in our lecture mode where we have a chance to hear the details. So we've started the recording. Now let me make certain that we have the silence going on. Great. You may notice that in registering for this session, one of the housekeeping tips that I asked for is to make certain that we can have a free classroom setting, if you will. Background noise, I know many people are joining me tonight from work. They are leaving events, they're going home, and sometimes you're in the car and that background noise can be a little bit distracting. I wanted to make certain that we can have that noise-free zone. That's why I'm asking for the silent mode. For now, I've put everyone on silent mode, and as I mentioned, when we are in our Q&A, you will have a chance to ask your questions. Just keep in mind, if you are by webinar, you can chat those questions into me as you're thinking of them. Otherwise, hold on to the questions, write them down. That way you'll have them available to ask during that time. For the Q&A, keep in mind, I would love to know exactly who you are and where you're from. That means state your name and what club you're from, then ask your question or make your comment. When you are asking your question, keep in mind to keep it as clear and as concise as possible, and then also think about asking one question at a time, meaning we may have several people that want to ask questions. Therefore, if you're making the attempt to ask a 2-part or a 3-part or a 5-part question, I really ask that you ask one part of that question first, and if we have the availability, then you can ask the other part as we rotate you in. So just keep in mind, make room for everyone that's available on the call who wants to make certain they can ask a question. Get your most important question in first, and if we have the time to be able to ask the other ones, of course, I'll get you in. Now, of course, this session is being recorded. Those of you that were on the line with me early, you heard that message. This call is being recorded for the benefit of us being able to use the information later, and also for those that were not able to be with us live tonight, yet they will have an opportunity to catch the content later. This program, as I mentioned, is a program that gives me an opportunity to share with you details on a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Yet I can't share this information without first making sure I give a shout out to our District 103 TRIO members. It is because of them and their support of this idea that I had, this program is actually taking place. So I would like to thank our Club Growth Director, Greg Thompson, our Program Quality Director, Joe McCarty, and our District Director, Ivory Gwynn, for supporting me in creating this D103 Senior Advisor webinar series. Started last month. It's going again into the month of March. We'll pick up again in May and have a few more sessions in June. And those gentlemen before you, if you're looking at it by webinar, these are the gentlemen who have actually helped to make this session possible. So again, I want to thank our D103 TRIO members for their support of this program. I am a member of Toastmasters and have been for the last 22 years. Many of you know me from the district leadership roles I've performed, or even from the different workshops you may have attended that I facilitated at the District 103, TLI, or even at the District 30 TLIs and conferences. I joined Toastmasters in 1998, and I joined Toastmasters for leadership development in particular, which means over the course of my 22-year membership, I've been in all 7 club leadership roles. I've also stepped outside of the club environment, and I've had an opportunity to work at the district level. I started with the area governor role, which is now called the area director role. I also had an opportunity to serve as a division governor twice, which is now called a district director, or I should say a division director role. I also served as the club retention chair for District 30, the program quality director for District 30, and then the first district director for District 103. And now, having been the district director before, I'm in the past district director role, which means I'm a senior advisor to this year's team. In serving as program quality director, this concept of club quality kept coming up. Club quality, as I mentioned before, is the theme of tonight's session as well as the next 2 sessions in the month of February. Club quality is a concept that Toastmasters International pays attention to. Having served as the program quality director, I had an opportunity to actually earn an award for focusing in on and really helping our clubs to pay attention to club quality. I'm very proud of the Excellence in Program Quality Award I received during my term as Program Quality Director, which is why I'm teaching this session tonight, because again, it's an area that's extremely important for our clubs to be successful. I have been a member of Toastmasters, as I said, for 22 years. However, I started with a corporate club. I have continued, though, my membership in a community club. For the last 15 years, I've been managing the Wrightwood Ashburn Overcomers, otherwise known as WAYO Toastmasters Club. That's where I continue my involvement. That's where I continue my growth, and that's my home club. Yet Toastmasters, it's my passion. It's my ministry, as someone mentioned to me the other day. And it does give me a chance to be who I am and bring into this environment what I love. And my mission is education and empowerment. My passion is teaching through speaking. And if you've known me for these last 15, 22, or even 2 years, you know that for the most part, everything that I do is rooted and grounded in my mission and my passion. I am actually focused so much on that education and empowerment that this year I started a new series. I call it the Leadership Legacy Series. Yeah, it's a play on my last name. It's also a connection to what we do here in Toastmasters. And remember, it is also the primary reason why I joined Toastmasters, and that was for leadership development. Well, the Leadership Legacy Series is a collection of special reports I've put together related to certain club topics or even district leadership topics. There are different reports that can assist you with either understanding more about your club rank or how to deliver a council meeting. Different topics, depending upon your leadership role, you may find something for you. I say download any of those Leadership Legacy Series reports that were attached to the registration for this program. Any of the other sessions that are coming up, you'll have a chance to access the Leadership Legacy Series as well. And as I said, reports that come from my perspective, it gives some advice and guidance and some insight really on some of the areas that we as leaders in Toastmasters sometimes don't get a chance to delve into a little bit more deeply. I've taken the time to do that for you, and I've put it together in a nice, concise report. So feel free to download them at any point in time. One final point about me, and I say this is the next step for me. I mentioned I joined Toastmasters in order to develop my leadership. I've been a member for the last 22 years, and although I started with a corporate club, I have continued with a community club. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, which means I no longer work for a corporation. Corporations hire me to come and teach professional development classes. It is for that reason that my next journey in Toastmasters is focused on becoming an accredited speaker. The Accredited Speaker Program is a very special program that Toastmasters International has. It's the elite program for communicators, and it also gives those of us who are using our communication skills as a career to actually show what we have and become a part of the elite group. The Accredited Speaker Program we will teach more about in District 103 in future months, yet that is my next goal. I've done the leadership, I've done the district director. Now it's time for me to keep developing my communication skills. This webinar series is one of them, yet the accredited speaker is the next big goal that I have that I would like to achieve. Now, I think that's enough about me. And in that being enough about me and what the reason for this program and the idea behind this program, and as I said, I thank the trio for supporting it because it helps me with, again, sharing some information that I think will be extremely helpful for you. Now, as I said, this is part one of creating a quality club. Toastmasters International believes that this program helps us to, first of all, be able to focus in on understanding the importance of the member experience. The clubs exist for the members, and actually the members are the reason for this organization. Toastmasters International has charged every club to focus on and pay attention to the members, and tonight in this first session, we're going to take a look at the member experience. The next thing we'll do in this session tonight is we'll take a look at some of the key elements for having a quality club environment. As I mentioned before, having a quality club environment, it is important to have, however, it can be challenging to do. So in order for you to know exactly what it means in order to have a quality club environment, I want to make certain I reveal to you some of the key elements I learned when I was program quality director. It is these elements that I was able to assist clubs with focusing on in order to help them become distinguished or higher in that club year. And last but not least, tonight, we'll talk about the correlation between the member experience and how it ties into the Toastmasters mission statement as well as the Toastmasters values. We know this organization exists for a reason, and we also understand there's a connection to the members. Yet we want to be very clear as to how does the member experience correlate to the mission and the values, and you'll gain some insight on that tonight. As I said, first thing we will do tonight is talk about the member experience. Well, in talking about the member experience, I want you to think about a few different questions. In thinking of the questions, you can think about it from your perspective of being a member, or you can think about the members who are joining your clubs. Some of you on the call tonight are both a member and a club leader. Others of you on the session tonight are in the role of member. Either way, there's a question I want you to consider. And that question is, actually the first one, because I have three for you. The first question is, why did you join Toastmasters? In the member experience, the first question typically is asked when the new member is getting acclimated to your club environment. The VPE or the VPM, meaning the Vice President of Education or the Vice President of Membership, they're asking new members, why did you join Toastmasters? Hopefully that's a question that the member can answer without hesitation. Right now, that's a question that I hope you can answer solidly in your mind as well. Why did you join Toastmasters? That's the first question to get clear on, because it's that why that helps us to connect the member more to the member experience. The second question that helps us with the member experience is the question of, why did you stay in Toastmasters? I chuckle at that question because that question, of course, is for those of us that stuck around a little bit longer than the initial time frame of joining the club. There are some members we know who join our club, they pay their money, and then they disappear. We don't see them again 6 months after they pay, 12 months after they pay, 18 months after they pay. We don't know sometimes why they have disappeared. We want to, of course, get very clear with them initially on why did they join, yet we also want to be clear for those who have stuck around as to why did they stay. What is it about your club environment that kept them motivated and inspired to stick around? I know I had a former vice president of membership in my club who had a phrase where he would say, I'm focused in on making sure they can stick and stay. Stick and stay is what he would say. That meant he wanted to make sure that members not only joined and could meet their why, yet they would stick around in the club environment and get more of the benefits of a Toastmasters program. So he didn't want them just to pay their membership for those initial 6 months. He wanted them to be around after those 6 months and even years down the line. And I'll tell you, when that vice president of membership was in that role, and he did that role for about 3 years straight, we started to see the retention rate of our club improve. We didn't have a problem with recruiting, but we did have a problem with retention. And I think that's because we were not really focused in on that second question of, why did you stay in Toastmasters? Why did you stay? We want them to stay. We want them to stick around. We want them to get something from the environment. Keep in mind the first question for the member experience is not only, why did you join Toastmasters? Yet we want to add that second question of, why did you stay in Toastmasters? Now, here's the last question. For the member experience, get your members thinking about what's the greatest benefit they've gotten from their Toastmasters experience. What's the greatest benefit they've gotten from their Toastmasters experience? I know with the Toastmasters experience for me, because I've been a member for over 22 years, I've had different benefits over the course of my journey with Toastmasters. The number one benefit, of course, is becoming more confident in my abilities to lead. The other benefits, though, have been the various opportunities that I've had, the chance to grow my speaking skills, the opportunity to strengthen my training skills, the core opportunity to boost my confidence and remove the fear of leading projects and leading teams. It's been a variety of benefits that I've received, and I've been able to use those benefits outside of the Toastmasters environment for other opportunities. As I said, I'm no longer in corporate America. However, when I got started in Toastmasters, I was. It was in corporate America where I was encouraged to develop my leadership skills for the position I had. Thanks to that encouragement from my manager, I was able to move from my admin position or my administrative professional position and move into management. It was because of the comfort level that I gained for being in the Toastmasters environment and serving as a club leader and becoming a district leader. Those opportunities gave me the confidence that I needed in order to take on the manager roles that I had while I was in corporate America. Great benefits, great benefits. I was able to parlay those into opportunities outside of Toastmasters. And I think we have to become accustomed to figuring out a way to ask our members these different questions from time to time. Usually at the start of a club year, that's a good time to ask all three of these questions. That means in July, that first month of the brand new club year, is a good time to get everybody thinking differently about that year's involvement in Toastmasters. I typically let my members know, hey, in this club year, we have 2 dual cycles. to-do cycles, and it depends upon what's going on in your life. You will either be around for both, or you might only be around for one. However, you'll have at least 6 months to get something from this program. What is it that you want to make certain you can walk away from this program with if you have to leave the program? So think about being active. Now, why did they join Toastmasters? That's getting to the heart of what prompted them and inspired them to join your club in the first place. Why did you stay in Toastmasters? That's giving you some insight into what is it about your club environment that kept them encouraged to be a part of Toastmasters? And then help them to think about what their greatest benefit is that they've received from being in Toastmasters. We don't want them to lose that benefit because, again, they can parlay that outside of the Toastmasters environment. And, of course, that's exactly what Toastmasters wants us to do. They want us in the club environment to practice the communication and leadership skills development, yet they want us to take that communication and leadership skills development outside of our club environment and use it in the real world. These 3 questions, I think, are good questions for exposing our members to why they're in Toastmasters, what they're getting out of Toastmasters, and how they're using that experience outside of Toastmasters. So I say these are questions that are food for thought for every member, food for thought for even members who are club leaders. Why did you join Toastmasters? Why did you stay in Toastmasters? And what is the greatest benefit you've gotten from Toastmasters? Again, you can ask these questions at the beginning of the club year, or you can ask the questions at any time throughout the club year. Yet these are great questions to help with the member experience. Now, as I move us to our next segment, this next segment is still giving us some answers here. I want to review some of the why did you join Toastmasters. I know many of you, when I was asking that first question of why did you join Toastmasters, more than likely you were thinking about your own answers. Yet let me give you some ideas of what other people have said to me in the past when this question has been asked. And these are answers that came from some of my own club members, yet really these are answers that came from District 30 members as well as District 103 members, and I'm sure members from all over the world. Some people have received the increase in self-esteem. Others join Toastmasters to network. Improving communication, improving leadership abilities, those are other answers that come up, of course, because those are tied to what Toastmasters is all about. Yet there are some people who join Toastmasters in order to be able to think on their feet, to improve their time management, as well as to give constructive criticism. Now, those are just a few of the answers of why did you join Toastmasters. And don't forget, because Toastmasters is an opportunity to develop your skills in-house, that way you can use your skills outside of this environment. There are many people who join Toastmasters for advancing their career, or career advancement, as I would like to say. The other ideas as to why did you stay in Toastmasters: improve communication skills, improve leadership abilities. Those are some of the most common answers. The increased confidence, the increased self-esteem, that's another set of answers that come up often as well. Yet people say they stay in Toastmasters because they are able to overcome their fear of public speaking. So other people say they stay in Toastmasters because of the friendships they've developed thanks to the networking that they do. And then other people say they have stayed in Toastmasters because it's a supportive environment in which to take risks, amongst several of the other answers that are provided. Yet think about these being good answers as to why some of your members might stay in your club, or even as to why they joined your club in the first place. And I'm sure as I've gone through both lists giving you examples so far, you have recognized some of your own answers as well. Yet why did you stay in Toastmasters? Those answers are as varied as why did you join Toastmasters. Yet let me give you a few examples of the last question. Now, remember that last question was all about what is the greatest benefit you've gotten from Toastmasters? The top 3 answers that tend to come up with the number 1 being career advancement opportunities, the second being more self-confidence, and then the last being belief in leadership abilities. Now, those are not the only answers out there, I'm sure, yet these are some of the top answers that I've been able to record over the years, as I've said, that this question has been asked. What is the greatest benefit you've gotten from Toastmasters? Your answer could be added to this list, and I'm sure your answer won't be limited to the career advancement, self-confidence, or the belief in your abilities. Everyone has a different reason. We simply want to make certain when we work with our members that we are able to connect with them and help them to figure out their why. We're able to help them to figure out what they're also getting from the program. Again, 3 different questions that give you food for thought, 3 different questions you can use to give your members food for thought. Yet keep in mind, members are joining Toastmasters for a reason. What is that reason? And how will they use that experience outside of the club environment, or what benefits will they get? You want them to connect with those answers as often as possible, and once a year is always a good time to get them thinking about those questions. Questions. Food for thought. Lots of questions on the mind. I know that as we move through this segment here, there is a question I have for you, especially if you're a club leader. I want you to think about, again, still the member, but I want you to think about it from this standpoint. What are the top 3 most important experiences you want your members to experience through Toastmasters? Now, let me state that question again, because I'm wanting you, especially if you are in a club leader role, I'm wanting you now to put on an extra hat. We always wear our number 1 hat of being a club member. So why did you join Toastmasters? Why did you stay in Toastmasters? And what benefits have you gotten from Toastmasters? Oh, those are all questions for us as a member. However, for those of us who are club leaders, we want to take that question process to the next step, and we want to think about what are the top 3 most important experiences we want our members to experience from our club environment. And again, that question helps us as club leaders, because as club leaders, we are the one that really are charged with making sure our clubs can have a quality club environment. If our clubs don't have a quality club environment, our members won't grow and they won't have the benefits that they can receive and use outside of the Toastmasters environment. Again, club leaders, think about this question. What are the top 3 most important experiences you want your members to experience through your Toastmasters club? The top 3 most important experiences can vary, just like all of the answers we heard for the other 3 questions. Yet I think that's a great question for you to ask your fellow club leaders, and I think that's a question that can help to guide what you do in your club environment for the club year to make sure your members are getting something out of the club environment. Remember, your club is where members come to grow. Your club is where members come to experience the Toastmasters educational program. Your club is the first place where your members get an opportunity to even become exposed to what Toastmasters is all about. Think about what you want them to get from that program, no matter how long they're members of your club. As I said, we have 2 dues cycle within a club year. We have that October 1st due cycle that comes, and then we have the April 1st due cycle. When you are having both your new members and your current members with you for both of those due cycle, what is it that you want them to experience? Narrow it down to the top 3 experiences. Share that with your fellow club officers. See if you can get a consensus as to the top 3 you'll focus on. And those answers will help you to start guiding your club to have the quality needed for your members to have a quality member experience. The member experience. Keep in mind, you could focus on making sure they can gain confidence. Keep in mind, you can also focus on making sure they get something from your club environment and the Toastmasters program that they can use on their jobs or use within their career. Another experience you may focus on is that they have fun. If they are able to network, they're able to meet new people and build their network of mentors and advisors. Connections with others could be another experience that you focus on. However, the choice is yours. It really is up to you. It's really up to your members, and it's up to your club leaders as well. I say work together with your fellow club officers in coming up with the top 3 experiences, yet remember that at the basic level, we are all members, and we all want to experience a quality club environment. So stay connected to your why and understand your benefits, yet help your members to understand that as well. Now, the member experience. We focus quite a bit on the member experience. I am now ready to give you some insight on the key elements of what makes up club quality. As I said, having been the program quality director for District 30, club quality was extremely important for me to focus on. Again, I was the program quality director. That meant I had to be very cognizant of making sure club officers were being trained. I also had to make sure our members were achieving educational awards within the Toastmasters program. I had to keep track of which of our clubs were actually achieving goals in the Distinguished Club program. Many of those elements combined were all a part of the Distinguished Club program, and I know many of you are familiar with that, and in part 2, we'll focus on the Distinguished Club program. Yet for tonight, I simply want to give you an overview of some of the key elements that help to make up a club quality environment. So let's take a look at what makes up having a quality club environment, because it's not just one thing. It's actually not just 2 things. There are several components. And it starts with the club mission statement. The club mission statement is the foundation, and added on that are the values. The pillars that are, I say, atop of both the values and the club mission statement. The pillars that exist that we focus on as well that help to make up club quality are the experiential learning experiences we have, or I should say the experiential learning opportunities that we have in Toastmasters, as well as the program, our club environment and the Toastmasters and program giving us that self-paced opportunity. We also get peer feedback, and we know we get peer feedback at every meeting because we have the evaluations built in. And then finally, mentoring is another one of the pillars. Now, those 4 pillars, experiential learning, the self-paced program, peer feedback, as well as mentoring, those are laid upon the foundation of the club mission statement and the club values. Now, added atop all of those are the moments of truth as well as the Distinguished Club program. Now, as I said, later we'll focus on the Distinguished Club program and moments of truth, meaning we won't cover those in tonight's program because it's so in-depth. So that's why I'm dedicating a club quality session to those aspects only. For tonight, I want to look at, though, the 4 pillars of experiential learning, self-paced program, peer feedback, and mentoring, as well as the values of Toastmasters International and the club mission statement. We know that being in Toastmasters, the club mission statement and the values are something we hear often. We get a chance to recite the club mission statement at every meeting. We also get reminded about those values based on the programs we do, the products we purchase, or even sometimes our members who deliver speeches on the values. Yet we don't always talk about the 4 pillars. And those 4 pillars of experiential learning, the self-paced program, peer feedback, as well as mentoring, those are part of the environment that helps our clubs to have club quality. So why don't we take a look at each of those individually to gain some more insight. Now, I mentioned at the foundation of having a quality club environment is the club mission statement. Several of your clubs are reciting that club mission statement each and every meeting. Whether it's your sergeant at arms or it's your club president, you could perhaps even have your Toastmaster recite it. And then some clubs, it's every single person in the room that's saying it out loud. Yet at every single meeting, members and guests get reminded as to why that club exists. We know that the club mission statement says, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. That's the purpose of our clubs. Our clubs give us the opportunity to help our members experience growth for both communication and leadership. Our clubs help our members to experience empowerment, to experience greater self-confidence. It's our clubs. Your club environment. Is your club environment actually meeting the mission statement of the club? If you find that your club environment is not meeting the mission statement of the club, start having a conversation with your members or your club leaders and see what can be done to adjust what's happening in your club environment to make certain, at a minimum, you're meeting the mission statement of your club. And keep in mind, again, your club is supposed to exist. Your club does exist in order to provide that supportive and positive learning experience in which your members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, which results in greater self-confidence and personal growth. If they're getting that from your club environment, that's a thumbs up to you. If they are not getting that from your club environment, you at least now have an idea as to where to start. Now remember I said Toastmasters International wants us to have a quality club environment, and they let us know at the foundation, following and meeting the club mission statement can help us with giving our members a quality club environment. The next area that Toastmasters International mentions as a foundational principle for meeting club quality, and that is to make sure we're upholding the values of the organization. Depends upon who you are. You might recite the values exactly as Toastmasters International lists them, which are integrity and respect, service and excellence. Yet there are some members I know who have rearranged those values slightly, and they have the acronym of RISE, and that's simply so they can remember all 4 of the values, yet they remember it in the order of respect, integrity, service, and excellence. Keep in mind, Toastmasters International has integrity as our first value. Respect is our second value. Service is the third value, and excellence is the 4th value. 4 values of Toastmasters International. And they want our club environment to make certain that we are able to exude those values for all of our members to experience. I was recently at a session, and there was a guest speaker who talked about the values of Toastmasters International, and she gave a completely different perspective for me on clubs meeting the values of the organization. And I don't remember exactly everything that she said before she led into this statement, and the statement I'm about to make is really a paraphrase of what I remember her mentioning. Yet her comment was, and this was more so from the standpoint of being a member, just being a member, Are we upholding the values of being a member? Are we upholding the values of Toastmasters International as a member? Was her question. Are we upholding the values of Toastmasters International of being a member? And she said, well, think about it. What are the values of Toastmasters International? And the audience started reciting. And, of course, they recited them in the order they could remember, yet we all heard the integrity, the respect, the service, and the excellence. Well, one of the things she mentioned was take into account that Toastmasters International has a value of service. And you are a member of this organization, yet you don't want to help anyone achieve their next goal. Or you're serving as a club officer and you get upset each time somebody wants you to extend an extra hand to help them out. Are you really upholding the value of service? She went through a few of the other values as well, giving examples, such as integrity. I think was one of her examples she mentioned was, with integrity, doing what you say you will do is a brief way of defining integrity. Doing what you say you will do. Well, the speaker mentioned, if you are someone who say you will hold a club officer role and you don't fulfill that role, are you really being integrous? Or how about just at a meeting, being a member? As a member, we are supposed to help run our clubs. Our clubs don't run by the club officers. The club officers manage the club, yet the club members run the club. So the speaker reminded us that every single meeting is run by every single member because members perform meeting functionary roles. And did you tell your members, your fellow members, that you would at the next meeting serve as a Toastmaster or be someone's speech evaluator, and then you canceled out? She said, now I know things happen in the world and your life can get busy and there are legitimate reasons for canceling. She said, but she has been in the organization far too long and she knows that many times people cancel simply because of fear and they don't fulfill their role. She said, well, keep in mind, if you don't fulfill that role, you're not really being integrous. You're not exuding integrity. I bring that example up to say, when we talk about the values of Toastmasters International, we many times say those values and we put them out there. You know, they're so grand to think about and to recite and to say we have. Yet that speaker forced us as members to think about how we are on an everyday basis, or I should say on a meeting by meeting basis, how are we living out the values of the organization? Now, I remember I said at the foundation of having a quality club environment is the club mission statement. On top of that is being able to follow the values of the organization. I loved hearing that speaker talk about the values of Toastmasters International because she forced us again as members to think about how are we upholding the values? Are we demonstrating integrity? Are we showing respect? Are we exuding service? And do we demonstrate excellence? Those four values are values to review how you and your members are exhibiting them in your club environment. And remember, those are foundational principles to incorporate when you're looking at building a club environment. And of course, we know that life happens and every single meeting you won't have everybody there because someone will need to cancel for whatever reason. However, you do have members in your club environment who get up every time to deliver a speech and they're not doing it at the level of excellence. You also have members who are leaders of your club and they don't have respect for your fellow members. So keep in mind, where are there adjustments in your club environment that can be made? And of course, it starts with us as individual members thinking about how do I represent each of the four values of Toastmasters International in my active membership in my club environment. If you could ask that question of yourself and also get your members to ask that question of themselves and answer it, you'll at least start to see where adjustments can be made. So keep in mind, follow the mission statement and follow the values of the organization. Now let's look at what they put on top of those two foundational principles of the mission statement and the values. Let's start looking at the 4 pillars. Now, the pillar of experiential learning is the first pillar. That means in Toastmasters, they want you to experience growing as a leader and a communicator. You get the first-hand opportunity through your speech projects, through your leadership projects, to actually begin to develop those skills. Now, of course, this environment, which is a safe environment in which to test out growing as a communicator and leader, that's what they want you to have. They want you to have that safe environment, yet they don't want you to limit your exposure to your communication and leadership growth only in this environment. They do want you to be able to take that outside as well. And when I say outside, meaning transfer that experience to the real world. Get your experiential learning in your club environment. Take on club leadership roles. Take on certain projects in your club. We know that the members lead the clubs, which means there are club environments that need a lot to be done in order for there to be a quality club environment. Perhaps you have a small membership base, which means you don't have all 7 club officers. Yet perhaps you have members who have the talent and the ability to perform some of the duties of a leadership role without necessarily having that leadership title. So keep in mind, where can you test out growing as a leader? Where can you also experience growing as a communicator right there in your club environment? Take on that project. Put that opportunity into practice. Start to stretch and grow. And then remember, you can transfer that experience outside of the Toastmasters environment. One other idea I want to expose you to regarding experiential learning is the idea of pathways. You may recall that in District 103, we are going to be completely done with the traditional educational program come June 30th, 2020. So that means for those of us who started in Toastmasters prior to February of 2018, we had manuals. We didn't know anything about pathways. We are finishing out that program, what's known as the traditional program. The traditional program gave us an opportunity to have experiential learning. However, pathways is really targeting giving you an experiential learning opportunity. For members who came a part of your club in February of 2018 and up until now, they don't know anything about the traditional program at all, and that's because they only know pathways. They have been experiencing pathways now for some time, and they've been immediately immersed in that experiential learning environment. So pathways really is the new educational program that will start to give you more exposure to experiencing the growth and development of a leader and a communicator right there in your club environment, where you can use it outside of your club environment. So remember, that first pillar of experiential learning is very important. They don't want us to just go to a club meeting, have that social moment, and then leave. No, they want us to go into a meeting, have a social moment, yet learn something. Learn something that you can use to benefit you elsewhere. So experiential learning is pillar number 1. Pillar number 2 is the self-paced program. Self-paced program means exactly what it says, and that means you get an opportunity to decide when you will do what in your Toastmasters experience. Of course, it depends upon which club you're in and who your vice president of education is, or even who your vice president of membership is. Some of your club officers don't want you taking forever and a day to get through the Toastmasters program. As a matter of fact, Toastmasters encourages you to get your new members acclimated as quickly as possible. Yet they do remind us, and when I say remind us, meaning reminding us members as well as reminding us leaders, that people can take this program at their own pace. Again, remember that everyone has a life, and no one gets paid to be involved in Toastmasters. Yet all of us are in Toastmasters for a reason, and there's also a reason why we stayed. Yet with that self-paced program, even though we can do it at our own pace and we can do it in our own time, we really should commit to making sure we have goals set, that we have a partner that we work with that can help us to move along on our paths. And especially with Pathways. Pathways is getting us through the educational program a lot quicker than the traditional program used to. And Pathways is also giving you a chance to see a lot easier as well your milestones in your growth and your development than the traditional program. Yet it's still self-paced, and people can join in March and not deliver their first speech until December. Now, that could work in some environments. I know in my club environment, I wouldn't want that to happen unless, notice what I said, they can join your club in March and not deliver their first speech until December. Yet what are they doing in your club environment between March and December? Are they at least attending club meetings? Do they participate in table topics? Are they serving in other leadership functionary roles? Have they become the counter, the timer, the grammarian? Are they serving as the Toastmaster and the general evaluator? Meaning they may not give their first speech until December, yet are they just coming to the meetings and doing absolutely nothing? Or are they coming to the meeting and taking it step by step, pace by pace, experiencing a little bit at a time? Every member is different. You will have to make that determination in your club environment as to how much of a push that you'll provide to your members along that self-paced program. Yet get them thinking about what they want to do next. Just like you're getting them to thinking about why did they join and why did they stay. Get them to think about what do they want to accomplish within the 6-month time frame of being a member of your club. When your new members join, give them an opportunity to start planning their pace. You don't want them moving too slow because they could lose momentum, get bored, and disconnect. Yet we also don't want them moving too fast because they can become overwhelmed and they could quit. You want them to at least get what they came to your club environment for, yet help them to set a plan that's a pace comfortable for them to follow, where they can at least get something from the program. Experiential learning, they will experience, yet we do want them to have a self-paced program that they can follow and achieve. So those are the first two pillars, experiential learning, self-paced program. Let's look at the last two pillars. I say both of those tend to go hand in hand. The third pillar is actually peer feedback. I like the fact that peer feedback is in between self-paced program and mentoring. And that's because with peer feedback, that's where your members are getting an opportunity to experience evaluations, and they're experiencing providing constructive criticism. They're experiencing giving positive feedback to their fellow club members. Peer feedback. Now remember, in the club environment, as a member, you get immediately immersed into the peer feedback process if you perform any of the functionary roles that are reporters, meaning speech evaluators, the counter, the grammarian, the timer, or the general evaluator. Those are the reporters of the meeting. Those are the meeting members who are giving peer feedback. Speech evaluators, that's the role that most people think of first and foremost when we talk about peer feedback. However, an counter They're listening to how you're speaking. They're counting the number of ums and ahs you're speaking, and they're delivering peer feedback to you as to your crutch words, how many you had, and gives you insight as to what you can do to remove them. The grammarian. The grammarian is also giving you peer feedback. That grammarian is listening to how well you speak, how well you constructed your sentences. If you had a lot of run-on sentences and anything that was distracting to the ears of your listeners. The grammarian is providing you with peer feedback each time they deliver a grammarian report. Your timer. Oh, that's an easy peer feedback role to fulfill, especially for a new member. They get an opportunity to time you with your table topics, your speeches, as well as your speech evaluations. They give you peer feedback on the length of time you spoke for each of those areas, and that is a role they can perform immediately as a new member. And of course, you can also add in the general evaluator, the speech evaluators as well, because they too provide the peer feedback as well. Depends upon your club environment, you may also add in another dimension to peer feedback. I know in some club environments, there is a round-robin evaluation process that's provided. Or there are some clubs where everyone in the room provides a written evaluation, meaning members, leaders, and guests alike. They write down on a piece of paper the evaluation comments and provide it to those who have spoken in the club meetings, which means peer feedback is happening all the time. And your members get an opportunity to experience receiving peer feedback, yet most importantly, they get an opportunity to experience delivering peer feedback. Peer feedback is done in a variety of different ways in a Toastmasters environment, and it ties back to that experiential learning, yet it also ties into mentoring, that coaching, that giving the advice. So keep in mind, peer feedback is the third pillar of our club environments. We want the club environment to be a quality club environment, which means it should have that experiential learning component. The members should have that self-paced program they're following, and of course, there should be peer feedback happening. And as I mentioned, those reporter roles at every single club meeting, that starts the peer feedback, yet you can expand upon the peer feedback with other evaluation methods you bring into your environment. Yet let your members learn. Let your members learn what's working well, what can be improved upon, and give them that experience right there in the club meeting to be able to share that with each other. Now, the final pillar I want to cover tonight for club quality is mentoring. Mentoring is a concept that has been around in Toastmasters for quite some time. We've had formalized, and I say formalized mentoring programs in some club environments where some clubs actually make certain every single new member gets assigned a seasoned member as their mentor. The criteria that's used changes from club to club, yet there are many clubs that have been successful because they've had mentoring, a mentoring program installed. Mentoring, again, can help with your new members getting quickly acclimated to your club environment. Mentoring, giving your new members a mentor, can help your new members to get their questions answered immediately, have someone help to walk them through the program. And guess what? With Pathways, our new members need that assistance. Mentoring, speaking of Pathways, mentoring is now a component of Pathways, which means every single member who goes through the Pathways program will experience mentoring in level 2 of Pathways. So that means you get through level 1 and you touch on some basics and you get acclimated to using Pathways. Yeah, when you get to level 2 introduces you to mentoring. Mentoring ties us back to, again, the values of service and the values of respect and even the values of excellence and integrity. Yet keep in mind, mentoring is done effectively when your members have someone that is there to help support them. If they have that support, They then can grow, they can develop as both a communicator and leader, and your club can thrive. Think about your club environment right now. Does your club environment have a mentoring program? Can you implement a mentoring program? As I mentioned, in Pathways Level 2, there's information about mentoring. Perhaps as your members are experiencing Level 2 of Pathways, you can implement your mentoring program based off of what's in Level 2, or you can simply just use the foundational connection of new members, get a seasoned member as their mentor. Help to walk them through. Now, of course, Toastmasters International has some great resources on mentoring, resources we were using before Pathways, resources they've infused into Pathways, yet they have enough resources that if you're curious or if you're wanting to improve upon your mentoring in your club environment, go to www.toastmasters.org and type in mentoring, and a wealth of resources will pop up. Now, as I mentioned, club quality for tonight, I wanted to focus on the foundational principles of the club mission statement, the 4 values of Toastmasters International, as well as the 4 pillars of experiential learning, the self-paced program, peer feedback, and mentoring. We will cover the final elements of club quality in our upcoming session on creating a quality club environment. Yeah, I think for tonight, that's quite a bit that's been provided to you here. So let's take a look at what type of questions you may have for me regarding this concept. So what I am going to do is I am moving through my technology here, and I'm getting myself situated. That way I can open the lines for Q&A. If you are with me by phone, you'll have an opportunity to press *6. That will give me an icon to let me know that you have a question. I will then unmute your line, and you will have the opportunity to ask your question. If you are with me by webinar, what you'll do is just simply click the Q&A logo that's somewhere at the bottom of your screen there, and that will, again, allow me to know that you have a question, and I will be able to unmute your line, and you'll be able to ask your question. Let me at least start the Q&A session, and that way we'll know what to do next. So let me get that prepped first. Great. So as I said, the Q&A session has started. If you have a question on anything that was covered in this segment of information tonight, feel free to press *6 on your phone to let me know that you have a question, and that will put you in my Q&A queue. If you're by webinar, you should see the Q&A button. You just click that, and again, that will put you in the Q&A queue. If you have a comment on any of the areas that were covered tonight, you're more than welcome to share that comment as well. I know this is technology, which means I can't really see you prepping your computer and dialing and pressing *6, which means I'll pause for a moment to simply allow you to get yourself into the Q&A queue. And then once I get you all set up, I'll come back after about 10 seconds of silence, and I'll start answering the questions. So go ahead and get yourself ready for Q&A. Great. Thank you for prepping yourself. As I'm looking here, it looks as if the content you were able to digest. Seems as if information was clear. I am not seeing any questions or any comments at this time. Keep in mind the Q&A is open, and you do have an opportunity to put your Q&A in there. I'm just going to look really quickly. I don't see any questions in the chat, so that's great. I am going to make certain that if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Put yourself in the Q&A queue by pressing *6. In the meantime, I'm going to give you some insight on what's coming up in District 103. I know many of you are checking your junk mail folder, and you're seeing quite often, almost every other day in the week, District 103 is sending you information on upcoming events. You know, District 103 is in a busy season. When are we not busy, right? We're at the district level. There are so many events that we must perform on behalf of our clubs, which means that currently we are engaged in several upcoming events that we want you to know about. Of course, you're getting emails on them, yet I just want to bring your attention to them in case you're not seeing those messages in your junk mail folder. Right now, we're in February. Can you believe that January has gone already? Well, we are in February, and our area contests are happening, which means any of the club winners of your club table topics and international speech contests, they have gone on to the area level. Some of the area contests are still happening, and we will have until February 29th for all area contests to occur. Once the area contests are over, we'll move into our division level contests, and that date I'll provide you with in a moment. Speaking of February 29th, that is the last day for club officers to be trained. Remember when I said I was Program Quality Director for District 30? That was one of those areas I had to pay attention to. Are your clubs getting trained? Did your club officers attend training in round 1? Did your club officers attend training in round 2? Toastmasters International wants our officers to be trained twice a year. I was responsible for making sure that happened when I was Program Quality Director, and this year, Joe McCarty is the individual that's responsible for that. Joe McCarty, Ivory Gwynn, they have been on a mission of making sure District 103 has several club officer training sessions that are occurring. Now, we're in the month of February, which means the season for getting trained as a club officer is nearing its end. Please check your emails. I do not know those dates off the top of my head. However, I do know they have an email that just went out over the weekend, and I'm sure there's another one that will be coming out within the next week. They are letting you know the final club officer training sessions that will be happening in District 103. Sure, if you're in another district and you want to get trained in another district, you can do that, yet let us know in District 103 so that way your club and you and your club officer role can get credit here in District 103 for that. All club officers must be trained by February 29th for the second round. Make sure you check your club officer training status in the Distinguished Performance Report to make sure that any of your club officers that went to training, that they did get the credit for attending training. March 1st through March 31st. Now, that's the month of our division contest. Division table topics and international speech contests will all happen in the month of March. We have 5 divisions here in District 103. All 5 of those divisions will have their division contests on different days within the month of March. That means if you had a club winner that also won the area contest, they will then move on to the division contest. Good luck to all winners, and just keep in mind that March is the month for division contests. March is also a month for a special program that District 103 is doing entitled District 103 Educational Forum. Training from Toastmasters with a real-world twist. This is a special training program for our Toastmaster members and our non-Toastmaster guests, meaning people outside of Toastmasters can attend this event as well. We are going to feature our District 103 preferred trainers, and the preferred trainers were individuals who were selected from our October Train the Trainer program. We will get an opportunity to see them live and in action delivering an actual training program, which means they're going to put their training skills to use, and they're going to teach us actual topics we can use outside of Toastmasters. We're going to have topics such as PowerPoint presentations and emotional intelligence, as well as communication styles, and even goal setting and vision planning. You will have a chance to use the information that you learned from the D103 preferred trainers in Toastmasters, yet really outside of Toastmasters, which means if you know of anyone who would like to improve their PowerPoint skills or learn more about enhancing their emotional intelligence, tell them about the event on March 7th. I know there is a message that is going out weekly for this program. Again, more than likely the message is hitting your junk mail folder, so stay tuned for that message. And there is a slight nominal cost for that fee because, again, this is a special program, it's special educational training, yet it is open to you as a Toastmaster, and it is definitely open to any of your family, friends, and colleagues outside of Toastmasters who could benefit from the training. There is a registration link in that announcement, so when you open that email from District 103 Toastmasters, it will give you the registration link for the D103 Educational Forum. Whew. I only told you about a few of the events, and there are still a few more to come. Now, as I mentioned, more than likely you're getting emails on these messages already that you've more than likely earmarked. So, for instance, there's something that's coming up that you will receive a message on soon, and that is for anyone who wants to step outside of their club environment and become a leader at the district level. The District 103 DEC Open House is going to occur on March 21st. And what that simply means is the District Executive Council, which meets once a month, is going to open up their March DEC meeting to give you an opportunity to see firsthand what it means to be an area director, a division director, or any other leader at the district level. Some of those district leadership roles, I should say, actually had nominations submitted. Nominations closed on January 31st for the division director role, the program quality director role, the club growth director role, as well as the district director role. Well, that is now over. However, we still need leaders at the district level to be at the area director level, the public relations manager level, the administration manager level, the finance manager level, the logistics manager level, and many, many other leaders as well. So perhaps not being the lead of the team, but you would want to be a part of the team, such as PR, the public relations team. We need several people on that team. Come to that DEC Open House to find out more about being a leader with the district. So the DEC Open House is open to anyone who wants to become a district leader outside of their club environment. April 4th is a deadline I want you to be aware of. You may know that we have our conference that's coming up, and our last three announcements for our upcoming District 103 events are all tied to our annual conference. So we have April 4th, April 6th, as well as April 24th and 25th. Now, April 4th is the deadline to submit a photo of you and your club leaders or you and your division team having a fun photo that's demonstrating you and your members having a good time with your club banner, or I should say your club banner should be in the photo, and it can be a fun picture that you have, meaning become a part of the virtual banner parade. Many of you that have been around for some time, you know that we've had actual banner parades where physically we would parade our banners in the conference, and then we recently went to the virtual banner parade method. Simply gives more people an opportunity to participate, and each year we give you a chance to submit a fresh photo, and that way we put the photo in a video collage, and that video collage is played throughout the conference. April 4th is the deadline to get you and your clubs in the actual banner parade. So get your members together, take a photo with the club banner, make certain we can see the name of your club banner so that way we'll know who you are, which club you're representing. Yet you can make it as creative as you want with that photo. Just remember, get it submitted in either JPEG format or PNG format and make certain that we can get you into the virtual banner parade. April 6th is a deadline that's also associated with our annual conference, and that April 6th deadline gives you an opportunity to purchase your annual conference t-shirt. Last year we had an annual conference t-shirt that spotlighted one of our annual conference logos. People really love that t-shirt, yet here is the deal. When those t-shirts were gone, that was it. We were not selling that shirt at any other event but at the conference, and this year is pretty much the same. April 6th, you have an opportunity to make certain you get online, place your order, get your own t-shirt with this year's annual conference logo. So we will be featuring the second annual conference logo we have for District 103, and we are proud to give you a group discount to be able to order it online. Now here's the deal. Because it is being ordered online, you get an opportunity to select your size. You get a chance to select your how many options or how many shirts you want, that is. Yet once the group window closes, and April 6th is the deadline, all orders that have been submitted before April 6th, once that deadline comes, all orders are then shipped to all individual members. So don't think if you order your t-shirt tonight that you'll have your t-shirt next week. No, that's not how it works. What will happen is you can order your t-shirt tonight, yet you will get your t-shirt around April 17th. So it's a group ordering process, and it just allows us all to get a great discount on getting this shirt and to make sure we have the shirt in time for the annual conference. Don't miss your opportunity to get the shirt. Let your members know about it as well. And as I said, April 6th is the deadline for you to be able to get your annual conference t-shirt. And then annual conference, that's our next deadline date, April 24th and 25th. I know the registration information went out last week. Again, that message more than likely went in your junk mail folder. Just take a look for that email that came for District 103 Toastmasters. That email tells you about the conference. It lets you know that Patricia Fripp is our keynote speaker. And Patricia Fripp is someone who is passionate about helping us to become better communicators. Not only is she going to be our keynote speaker for the conference, where she'll speak on Friday night and she will speak on Saturday morning, she will also do a coaching session on Saturday afternoon where she will bring in members from the audience to take part in her live coaching session. She's picking and selecting. You don't know who she's picking and selecting. No reservations are needed. However, it's always cool to see who she selects and how they walk through the process with her. Patricia Fripp is our keynote speaker for our annual conference. The annual conference is also featuring other activities. Besides the virtual banner parade, we will have our Achievers reception on Friday night. All winners of the division Table Topics contest will compete on Friday night at the district conference. Saturday, the international speech contest will happen. Yet on Saturday, we will also have our annual district council meeting. So any club presidents and club vice presidents of education, we're looking for you to be with us for the business meeting. There will also be educational workshops on Saturday, and there's so much going on Saturday. My head is spinning with the agenda. Keep in mind, all very specific details for the annual conference have been emailed, and more emails will come. Right now, we know the day, we know the location, which is the Embassy Suites Hotel downtown on Columbus Drive. We also know that Patricia Fripp is our keynote speaker. We just had our RFPs for speakers, meaning people who wanted to deliver workshops at the annual conference. That deadline just closed out on January 31st, which means we will be learning very soon which of our members will be presenting workshops at the conference and which workshops they will be presenting. So, of course, stay tuned to your email, stay tuned to your junk mail folder in particular, because that's where that email will go. February 11th is our next session, and as I mentioned, that session will give us a chance to focus on part 2 of Club Quality. That session will give me a chance to walk through in more detail for you the Distinguished Club program and the Moments of Truth program, and how both of those correlate with each other, and how you can use both of those programs to actually make certain that your club has club quality in its environment. Now, as I'm looking at my notes, you will find when you get this recording, you will get the registration link for the February 11th message. You may have already made your reservation for February 11th, but if you didn't get a chance to, the registration link will be provided for you in this recording. I take a sigh because I think I have covered everything for you. I'm taking one more peek at our Q&A. It looks as if I hear a buzz of someone that just came in, yet I am making sure I'm getting you all squared away in case you have questions. And remember, if you have a question, *6 on your phone is how you can get a chance to put yourself in the Q&A queue. If you have a comment, you can also put yourself in the Q&A queue as well in order to get your questions answered on tonight. As I said earlier, it looks as if the content was clear enough for you on this evening. It also appears that you don't really have any questions that you need to ask or any comments that you would like to make, which gives me the opportunity then to make the comment of my appreciation to you. I appreciate you being with me for this session on club quality. Club quality, it does not happen overnight. It really is a topic area that you must be very diligent in focusing on. Yet when you're not sure what you should be focusing on, how can you actually have club quality, right? Tonight, you at least gained some insight on what makes up club quality. We know we want the members to have a good experience. We also understand there are certain key areas to focus on to make sure our members can have a good experience. We covered that. You'll have the recording to review. And as I said, share the questions with your members. Share the questions with your fellow club officers. With your club officers, look at how you're using the mission statement, the values, the self-paced pillar, the experiential learning pillar, the peer feedback pillar, as well as the mentoring pillar in your club environment. Those are areas that you can adjust. You'll find when we're talking in next week's session on building club quality with using the moments of truth, as well as the Distinguished Club Program, some of what we discussed tonight will resurface. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen in and to be a part of this session. If you do have any questions, you can always reach out to me via my email. You can also be a part of the call next week where you can chime in with any questions that came to mind from this session that you didn't get a chance to ask. Yet I want to thank you for being with me tonight, and I want to wish you a great and a wonderful week, a productive week, and until next time, be safe, be blessed, and be a leader. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.